And welcome back. Beyond the Chains empowers those affected by incarceration to become successful business owners and seamlessly reintegrate into society. Now, through an extensive range of classes, workshops, and comprehensive support services, they foster financial independence, provide housing assistance, and offer family counseling. Here now to share more, we've got the founder of Beyond the Chains, Jessica Jones. And Jessica,
Hi.
thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I think it's important that we really have this conversation because there are so many people who are incarcerated and yet still are looking for that second chance.
Absolutely.
But so many times society does not have the right things available, and there's this hindrance there, and then that leads to recidivism. But you say we're going to do something about it.
All right, yes, absolutely. So as you guys know, my husband is incarcerated, so this is how it all started. I never dated anybody incarcerated before, so I wasn't into that realm, right? But as I started, I knew him prior before he got arrested, but once he got arrested, you know, I wrote it out with him and he's still in there, and I just saw so many things going on behind there, right? So many things that the men were going through. A lot of them didn't have families. It was certain things that was going on in the prisons, and then I ended up, you know, getting to know and meet people, and I saw what they was going through once they came home. So I was just around it all across the board, so I seen it in so many different aspects. And my husband, he basically, he didn't never had a business before. I had my first business, it's a spa business. So that's how we got into it. So I was teaching him, like, I'm just talking to him, regular business stuff, you know, you get excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this. And he's like, well, I want to do something. I want to help these men and women that are incarcerated and that come home. I'm like, well, what you want to do? He was like, I want to start a nonprofit. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm like, that's cool. I never thought about ever starting a nonprofit, but I didn't tell him, and then I surprised him with his second business, incarcerated.
So when you did this, obviously it had to be a great feeling for him because here it is, something that he really wanted to see done, maybe didn't have all the capacity to do, but you did.
Yes.
And so getting him on his feet to be able to do this and seeing the journey from you dealing with it, how does that make you feel saying, listen, I'm being able to provide some answers to some of these problems that I saw?
It feels good. You know, I feel like this is definitely my calling. I've done a lot of things, right? I've done taught in the beauty industry, in the medical industry, but it's something about this right here that really brings me joy to help families, especially when they cry to me, how I help them and stuff. I get a lot of those phone calls. We be crying on the phone together, a lot of these families, and I really feel like this is my calling. So it feels good. I really definitely feel like I'm in the right path.
Go back to one of those days when you were, you know, going to the prison and you're finding out things just don't look right. What were some of the things that you saw that said, listen, I can do something about this?
Some of the things, family stuff. It was more so family. I seen, you know, the wives before we go in. We usually chat before we leave out. We usually chat. And it was telling me some of the problems that their husbands were facing as far as like getting medical attention, things of that sort, how there was a delay in medical attention. Just little things that they would get in trouble for, frivolous little things. Sometimes the whole jail will be on lockdown for one person's thing. They can't use the phone. Bathrooms wasn't working, clogged. I had an inmate send me a video of literally their whole tier in water. And they didn't do anything about it. I'm like, well, where's the guards? Because he was showing me. I'm like, where's the guards?
Right.
He was like, they're not here. I'm like, what do you mean they're not there? You know, I told my husband. So he was like, yeah. He was like, babe, there's a lot of things. Every jail is different. Some are better than others, but a lot of them are really bad, especially the ones in the South.
Wow. So when an individual comes out, the biggest thing they want to find out sometimes is, how do I get a job? And I know you tackle that in terms of getting them job readiness and then also potentially job placement.
Yeah, so really I aim for ownership, right? So my main goal is to help them own a business. That's really what we strive for. Let's start a business because it's something that can't be taken away. A lot of the times when they do come home, they have a hard time finding employment, and then they tend to give up and they resort back to what they know, and that's going back to the streets or whatever it is to get that money to feel that they need to provide for their family. So a lot of the times we help them get start a business, and then we also, not everybody wants to start a business, so we're cool with that.
Right.
So we also give them the resources. We partnered like with other employment agencies that are felon friendly. Everything we do is felon friendly businesses, felon friendly everything.
Right.
So anytime we give them some type of job interview, it's felon friendly.
And how has it been walking into businesses saying, listen, we want you to partner with us, but we want you to be felon friendly? Some businesses
Are not okay with that.
Right.
So, but luckily, in alignment, those businesses come to us,
Right.
which is great. So I haven't really had nobody turn me down as of yet. I kind of do my research before I reach out to certain employers.
Yeah. Well, nobody should turn you down. I mean, there's a guy running for office who's got 34 of them. So, you know,
Right.
you should be able to find some kind of a job, some kind of assistance, something like that. When you look at that, I mean, honestly, you say to yourself, I see it here at the highest level of government. We should be able to do something with those who consider the lowest in the community.
Yeah, but it's so crazy because it's really not easy for them to find a job.
Yeah.
It is not easy for them. Some of them even got turned away from schools, certain schools, just because they were incarcerated. It's not because they couldn't do the specific thing they was going to school for. It was just because they were incarcerated. The school didn't want no parts of them.
Yeah. How much of a job of awareness does your not-for-profit bring to the fact that, listen, these are people who've been incarcerated, felonies, all of that, but yet and still, if you give that person a chance, they can turn their life around and also can turn your business around.
Right. So it's just, again, it really depends. It's really one of those touchy things when it comes to employment. But a lot of the times when we reach out to these employers, a lot of them were already felons.
Right.
So that's who we tend to reach out to. So it's not really too much hard. It's just like, is this person going to do what they need to do?
Yeah.
What's the track record? I basically got to back them up, you know? So other than that, it hasn't really been hard, but a lot of them that do come to us is because they want to start their own business. It's a straight, I want to start my business.
And the need for a business plan and a resume,
We
right?
help them with everything, yes.
Yeah. And when they come out and they've had the opportunity to receive the services that you provide, and then to be able to turn things around, talk to me about the impact that you've been able to make.
So, all right, my husband has his own medical lab. Do you really hear of a felon having a medical
Right,
lab, right?
right.
Some people don't have that. I help my husband with that, and I'm helping 3 of prison wives as well open up their medical lab with their husbands. So a lot of them did not know you could do DNA testing. That is a felon-friendly business. No license required.
Right.
So that's the best part. So DOT drug testing, that is another felon-friendly business. Those are the things we help with. A lot of them, the women, want to tap into the beauty industry. So we tap into that unregulated area, right? So body contouring, certain things like that, depending on their state and stuff. So mostly it's like body treatments, things of that sort. That's what they want to do. So we help them with things like that. So it's actually been really good. And we also teamed up with a publishing agency. You know, everybody love writing a good book.
That's right.
They
That's
love a
right.
good
Tell
book.
that story.
Yes, and they're going to tell their story.
Right.
So we teamed up with a publishing agency and we helped them get their books published.
Awesome. For yourself, when you look at the work that you've done, obviously you've risen through a lot of challenges.
Yes.
When you go back and you look at some of those challenges, what were some of the biggest ones that stick out that maybe we may not be so familiar with, but stick out to you?
It was the doubt. It was the doubt that these people could not change. That was the biggest thing. They always think, oh, they went to jail, this is who they are. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of the people that were incarcerated years ago in their early teens, and everybody changes, right? You just got to give them a chance. It's people's willingness to give other people a chance. That's like the struggle sometimes.
Right.
It's the trust factor that these people can change because they are people. Yes, they can change. And there are many, many men and women that have successful businesses that actually help the community, but nobody ever shines a light on that positive part. So all you see is the negative, but you never see the positive. So we're here to highlight the positives.
And consequently, when you don't give somebody a chance, you kind of like reincarcerate them again.
Exactly, because they're just going back to what they know. So if they're not given a chance to get a job, they need money. They're going to do what they need to do to get money. And it resorts back to going back to the streets or, you know, fast money and stuff like that. So we try to like end all that.
So you got a lot of balls up in the air. Jessica, talk to us about how do you keep things balanced?
That's the $1 million question everybody asks me. They call me all the time. How do you do it? Because I deal with, we have members all over the state. How do I do it? Prayer. I promise you that's really what it is, because I have no magic anything. I have a book to keep everything organized and a whole lot of prayer.
Wow.
But it is, like I said, when it's in your alignment and that's what you're meant to do, doesn't feel like work. So I just go with it.
So what does the next year look like for you when you talk about looking and scaling up the business and doing what you're doing? How do you, what do you see on the horizon?
We are doing a documentary.
All
We
right.
are doing a documentary. We're doing not only on prison wives, but those incarcerated doing life for like wrongful convictions, things of that sort. So definitely look out for that. That's going to be amazing.
As a prison wife, what was the thing that shocked you the most about within your very own experience?
Just the experience period. It can be hard. It's definitely hard. Your significant other is not there, and then you're trying to be that emotional support for them. They're trying to be that emotional support for you. So it's like finding that balance, and also just trying to keep their head straight, trying to keep their head positive. I realized that my husband has changed a lot, and it started like with the businesses and stuff like that. He's excited. He has something to look forward to. A lot of these men and women just need something to look forward to, something that they didn't think was possible can be possible.
For yourself, give us an inside look to say, when you were going through the situation of having a husband that's incarcerated, kind of like the whole family's incarcerated, isn't it?
It is. That's exactly what it is. I tell him that all the time. I'm like, I'm locked up with you. He's
Right.
like, no, you're not. I'm like,
Yes, I am. Right.
Yes, exactly. We go back and forth about that all the time. But I don't move as freely because my whole attention span is, besides our kids, it's, are you okay? When I'm not on that phone with you, how is your mental health? Because mental health is a real thing. It's important. So when their mental health is not right, things just fall apart. But luckily, we've been strong at it. So he's been able to stay grounded. But now I try to ground those other people that don't have family to check on their mental health and stuff. So it's a balance. But I got a team now.
Yeah.
It started off with me, but I have a team now. So thank God for that. So we just kind of like tackle what we can, and as we get bigger, we just tackle more.
And when I say love beyond locks, what does that mean to you?
My heart. That's what that means. I take pride in Love Beyond Locks because that is a prison wives program, and we have built a sisterhood of not only we are all going through the same things. I mean, our men are doing different time. We have some women that their men are doing life. We have some that are doing 20-something years, or some are coming home. But we've built this sisterhood to where we tackle these things together so we don't feel alone, because the outside world sometimes just don't understand. A lot of them are like, why are you dealing with somebody incarcerated? We get
Right.
that a lot.
Right.
So we just kind of we have our own community, and we stick together, and we also help tackle whatever we can in the jails as well.
Can you answer that for us, that question that's always asked of you? Because I think sometimes people don't get the real understanding as to why women will stay with someone who's incarcerated,
That's
given
the
the fact
number
that,
one question.
Right.
It is the number
Right.
one question. I mean, I don't know why everybody does it. I know why I do it, and I know why some of my wives that I have spoken to do it. We love them, and 9 times out of 10, we had a history outside of their incarceration. So sometimes when you think of prison wife, they think you met that man in prison. Sometimes that is the case, and listen, what you like, I love, okay?
Right.
So it's all good.
Right.
But for a lot of women, these are men that they were dealing with, or women that they were dealing with before they even got incarcerated, like my husband. Everybody thinks I met him in prison. No, we have pictures outside of prison.
Right.
Like
Pre-existing relationship.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. So a lot of the times they just think prison wife, oh, you met him in prison. You're crazy. Like,
right.
But if you do, like, listen, you have one life. If that person makes you happy, do it.
Exactly.
You can't worry about what other people think.
Exactly. What's the biggest hardship that prison wives really deal with? Is it the fact that you don't have that circle of people
The judgment.
that you can talk to?
It's the number one, judgment. We get judged harshly all the time. Go on TikTok, you'll see.
Yeah.
They love talking about a prison. Like, why do prison? Why is it? Da, 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 da. But it's the lack of support. So this is why Love Beyond Locks is a thing, because it's not just a group. This is a program. So we literally do weekly meetings, and then every month we tackle something. Like last month we had a communication workshop. Next month we're going to do a PTSD workshop. Things of that sort, because these men and women suffer from PTSD inside as well as when they come home. So we want to help navigate how to handle them while they're in prison and while they're out. Because even though they're coming out, it doesn't mean the job is done. Because sometimes they go through PTSD, we still got to support them outside of that and help them adjust to the outside world.
Are we seeing any common denominators from people who are coming home?
PTSD. A lot of PTSD, a lot of whatever the conditions are in there is making them come home, and the aggression, right? A lot of them are aggressive and they don't realize that they're aggressive. My husband, when he had first came home, he was aggressive, and he didn't realize. I'm like, and he wasn't intentionally trying to be, he just talked aggressive. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, you so aggressive. He's like, I don't think so. I'm just being regular. But a lot of them feel that they don't realize that they're aggressive. They're naturally aggressive because that's how you have to be in prison. You can't be soft and sweet in prison. So you're trained and conditioned to that. So you come home, it's not intentional. It's just, that's what they was used to all these years. So that's the common denominator. PTSD, the aggression, all of that.
There may be a family out there saying, listen, how do I get in touch? What's necessary for me to be a part of Beyond the Chains and some of the services that you have? Your response to them is what?
Just go on the website. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Google. We're everywhere. All you got to do is just type in beyondthechains.org, and we will pop up.
That's it. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I think it's important, that we have allies, advocates,
Yes.
and for those who are incarcerated, because the truth is we want to see people succeed, but sometimes we're not so friendly and so accommodating. So to have organizations such as yourself really makes a difference in the lives of people. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me tell our story.
No, Jessica's here telling our story, and to let you know, she is the founder of Beyond the Chains. Listen, we're taking a quick break. We got more coming up right after this.